No, things are working. Maybe things are working. Live. I'm live. I'm clicking the button. Live. Where does that go? Yeah, hey folks. According to Twitch, I'm live. I'm trying to figure out how I get to watch myself to make sure any of this stuff is set up the way it's supposed to be. I have my doubts. Ba-ba. I have my doubts. Home. Oh god, no. Oh no, no. Whatever you're trying to do there, Twitch, stop it. I think he was trying to broadcast from my phone. That's fun. Hello, people of Earth. If you are here, this is me testing to make sure my interface isn't all fakakta. That's French or Klingon. Come on. Come on. Come on. There is something very horrific about getting an ad. What the hell? I was looking at following. Am I not following me? Am I broadcasting myself? How do I view myself? Well, there I am, perhaps. Dismiss. Okay, the interface doesn't look too god-awful. Alright, so I'm over here. We're just working on my... Whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't want to hear me. No one wants to hear me. Alright, I can hide that. So the idea is that... fingers crossed no one's seeing this. But I think I have... Restream has the chat visible. Can I send a chat? Let's do that from the outside. Heyo. Great. Okay, so the interface looks great. I haven't updated this software in about a year, OBS, and it wants me to upgrade, and I just know there's no way it's going to work. But I saw Moose said something about, hey, you should stream when you launch tomorrow, or are you going to? And so I said, yeah, I would. So I had to test this out to make sure it's working. So I'll be online for a few seconds, making sure everything is working the way it's supposed to. Sadly, I don't think I can show my prep work for a Kickstarter, although I've got that coming soon page over there to the left of my head. But I am working on so many graphics are needed. Even when I try to tone down the number of products I have, it goes nuts. There's just too many. And there's a way to import products from a previous campaign, but that doesn't always work. What is this? This is the zines. And it's not always just that I'm trying to improve the graphics. That's sometimes the case. Oh, heck. Okay, can I save the reward? Fingers crossed. Every once in a while, when you're working on a Kickstarter, you have to log out of Kickstarter and then log back in order to upload graphics. Or at least that's my experience on coming in from a Mac. The experience might be different if you are logging in from your phone. But according to Twitch, I haven't streamed in a year, and I think this is also going to YouTube. So hello, maybe YouTube? Oh, I should check YouTube. Make sure it's not... Okay. Twitch, we quit. YouTube. That cuts my viewers in half. But a little introduction. My name is Steve Conley. I write and draw the webcomic The Middle Age. Find it over at middleagecomic.com. I also make TTRPG stuff like the Kickstarter Stabracadabra, which was going to launch tomorrow at noon. Hey, there I am. I am over on... Oh, great. I'm over on YouTube as well, it would appear, and that's great. I have no idea who might still be following me over on YouTube. I know I've got like 2,000 subscribers over there, but I haven't posted there in in about a year. And the live streams are not really well supported on YouTube. I think they want people on there, they want people doing live stuff, but they don't want to press it out to everyone because I think it's essentially what this is, which is very low quality content. Okay, logging back into Stabracadabra. What I'm doing is, I don't know I'm narrating this, for posterity. If this building is hit with a meteor, you'll understand what I was doing in my last moments. When you're creating a Kickstarter, you have to create your reward tiers. Your reward tiers are made up of items, and then there's things called add-ons, which are also items, which may or may not be part of existing reward tiers. They all have to be connected so that when a person logs in and orders one thing from one tier, they get other options. And then when they add those options, hey Jamar, I have not streamed in forever. I had no idea if this interface was even going to work. So it took me like 20 minutes just to get this rough semblance of an assemblage in any order, and I just had to check to make sure my head isn't halfway off the screen. Everything was wrong. I haven't updated this software in a year, and it really wanted me to. So I'm kind of just working offline. I'm prepping the Kickstarter for tomorrow. But man, I didn't expect anybody to see me over here. But the Kickstarter is looking good. I haven't screwed it up yet. I really hope it's going to be fantastic. Injuring my leg really messed up the last couple of months of productivity. There's only so much time I could spend at my desk or even drawing. I had to have one leg elevated the whole time, which made working on the iPad really impossible. I've always held it in my hands or rested on my leg or something like that. There wasn't really a place for me to do a lot of drawing, but I managed to squeeze in some stuff. Like, I'm surprised at the amount of prep work and illustration I was able to do for Stabracadabra. So I'm really happy with the basic pieces that I have. I did a ton of writing. It's probably the most overwritten thing I have done so far. I always overwrite and then cut and cut and cut. But this is going to be good. The very last thing I needed to do is, because there will be a zine, Conley. There's a mini that is going to be produced by the same company that did my other minis. But they are not the most... there's not a lot of profit in them. The margins are very thin. I would love to have done 2 minis. It's essentially this guy, which is the Bladeborn fighter. The concept with Stabracadabra is that you are the sword, and the fighter is your minion. And if your fighter dies, roll up a new fighter. It could be an elf, it could be an orc, it could be whatever you want your fighter to be. But as you level up the sword gains new abilities, which you basically get to go to a decision tree and choose, I want a bit of this, a bit of that. The swords have distinct flavors based on the kind of relationships they have with the... I do print my own minis, but not the kits. The high-resolution kits are produced by a company called Trenchworks out of Utah. They do stuff for MCDM, Matt Colville's company, and they do beautiful work, but they're essentially kits because my sculpts are not super designed for FDM printing. A lot of like this stuff you see from Tom Tullis and Fat Dragon Games, those figures, you can see they have a very stocky quality because they are meant to be self-supporting without any kind of struts and supports and doodads. Mine need all those because the figure is, my inspiration for my figures are more like the stuff you see at Weta Workshop, you know, this guy, you know, he needs supports. He's hinged on this back knee and totally leaning forward. So a mini like this just simply can't come out of a mold, you know, as a single piece. So what they'll do is they'll create a small mini kit of these things. It's kind of like a model kit with like 5 pieces. And they do glorious work. David! But I want him to be 200% on the... Yeah, I'm doing much better. Thanks for mentioning that, David. The boot is off. I still do physical therapy. I do about twice a week, and they are mean to me. And I think I'm doing really well until I get there, and they ask me to do something relatively basic that I should be able to do, and I've completely forgotten about it, like stand on one foot, and I'm just like all wobbly. So I'm hoping to go back to karate in January, but it's going to be slow going-ish. I was able to go to the supermarket last week, which was a huge improvement, but you know, my foot really hurt after that. Lateral movement, or kind of the hinging, the little bit of like of your foot, kind of the kind of rotation of your ankle left and right, not so great. Surgery's off the table. Surgery's off the table now. It's recovered enough. No more karate. Just no more stupidity. That was totally me. And even if I don't do karate, I'll do dance. Either way, I'm going to hurt myself. Yeah, no, you gotta exercise. I mean, I can't rule out stuff. I wasn't hitting another person. I was hitting a bag, and I kicked the bag in just the wrong way. I improvised. I did it poorly. But now this is the fun part where I try to figure out how much do you charge for mailing 2 zines and a mini to I don't know, pick a country. I can guess at what the rate will be, but who knows? Latvia. There you go. So the shipping to Latvia of minis and zines and PDFs is $24. And if I have to eat a little bit on that, I will. And again, Kickstarter takes 10% of that. So $2.40 of that $24 is gone. The minis don't weigh a lot, but the whole thing might be just over a pound. They're still gonna be on the hook for the customs and all that stuff. All right, so let me add the. Have I added the mini yet? So the concept of the subclass, as I was talking about, what is wrong with you, Steve? No eating cost if you don't have to. What is wrong with you, Steve? Sticker shock. I still think things should be... I'm old. I think things should be like a nickel. And if it's more than a nickel, I feel bad. Yeah. Plus, all my healthcare costs are going down in the coming year because the government knows what it's doing. All right, so this is the Bladeborn Fighter Mini. So that's what this guy is. Super happy with it. He's not the mini. He's like 3 up, but it comes off a little bit better on my printer. Super happy. He is also the inspiration for the... I sculpted him to paint the cover. If that's what it costs, so be it. But I have done a lot of things. I did listen to people. You should have been there with Cave. I was at Gamehole Con. My first Gamehole Con, I went there and my zines were $10. And I went to a zine event and they all told me I'm charging too little. Because they saw it and they're like, it's got spot varnish and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but nobody knows who I am. But now that more people do, I mean, it's not... Also, just because everything in my life is... My rent is going up, so the prices of everything are going up. So, fingers crossed this campaign does well. I know everyone's probably nervous right now. So, okay, let me do this. I'm going to set this up without creating a new piece of artwork for it. This will ship, the minis will ship in February of next year. There are certain things I initially had this mini available as an add-on to any physical tier. So if you ordered any of the books, and this campaign is going to be super interesting because it's my first one where I'm doing 2 books, 2 zines, 2 hardcovers. David says, Steve, when are you going to do a Kickstarter backer-only stream that is a demo session of each book? That's a lovely idea. You're charming and fun. You're charming and funny. No better way to show off the humor and craft of these books than you do with showing. There is something to that. Okay, here's the thought. I'm going to be doing more because the streams are fantastic, and I should do one for backers. I will do that. You know what? I will do that. I promise. Before this campaign is over, and I have enough of the material that I can display on the screen, I will show people Stabracadabra and how it's meant to work, because some things are a little more complicated. So anyway, I was mentioning there's 2 different books. There is Stabracadabra, which is the subclass book, and it's just like my other subclass books. This is the 5th one I'm doing. And it's got the subclass, it's got the perks of the magic item as it levels up, where you have your decision tree about how this is my sword, it is like no other. And then there's magic items and spells and creatures, like the Edgelord and the Beheader. So there's that part of it. This second book is called Death Save Devices, which is really the... I was going to make it its own separate Kickstarter, but it really feels like it's got a gimmick which dovetails with Stabracadabra in a big way, which is the idea that you expend death saves to empower the sword at some point. Because the notion was that, again, leading off of the Middle Age, where the sword does not really care much for Sir Quimp. He views him as a tool, as a battery. It feeds off death saves. And death saves in D&D, if people aren't familiar... Steve, have you gotten player feedback on your stuff? Oh gosh, yes. My favorite one was the second Gamehole Con. I couldn't go this year, given my stupid leg, but it was also on the same weekend as Baltimore, so I couldn't do both for sure. My plan was to do Baltimore. But there's a dungeon master who came up, and she told me that there were 4 players at her table, and each one was playing one of my subclasses. So, yeah. It's great. I have some quotes that I pepper throughout maybe it's a section in there where I have some nice quotes, kind of like social proof, but, take my word for it. People send me kind words. And Eric, how are you? The real Steve Conley never... Yeah, no, I'm absolutely an AI bot. Okay. I have saved the reward. One of the fun quirks of Kickstarter is that if you're online for too long on their system, at some point it'll time out and you can't upload images. It'll look like you're doing it, but it'll say there'll be an error, so you have to log out and log back in. But there's really only 2 more tiers to do. I think I've got. I was going to look at my to-do list there. The stretch goals, set those up. I gotta do my mailing list update. So the sword eats death saves. One of the features of it, one of the higher level features, is the sword can do that. It's not its primary ability. It was too easy for a fighter just to be you hit harder or you hit more often. I think the fun of this subclass is that it uses reactions in a very versatile way. That I think should give the subclass a... So there's 2 components of it. There's the sword, which levels up and has its own sentience, and how you play that, I think I've broken it down to 3 different kinds of sentience, whether it's possessing, as it controls the body completely, like a demonic possession a la Supernatural. There's a blending, where you have much more of a Trill DS9 effect, and then there is more of a partnership, which is I'd say definitely a role-playing 201. More difficult to play 2 characters. I think the blending and the possessing are definitely easier. lighter lifts for the role player. Cave, I missed you. I was saying good things about you a few moments ago. We're talking about my first Gamehole Con, and where I was giving zines away. And you were a very good wingman and Jiminy Cricket to tell me that I should not be underselling myself. Quim's a different animal. Quim's a different animal. He doesn't quite fit. It's not this. The rules of 5e don't really fit Sir Quimp. I mean, I wouldn't even want to try to curtail their relationship, or even try to create a mechanism that would allow for the sword to control. I mean, you could basically have two people playing him, and then some sort of charisma fight for who gets control at any given moment. But that's too much. That's too crazy. So Quimp's a different animal. Maledicta's a different kind of sword. This is just inspired by it and not attempting to do what the fiction can do. Currently in a session of the Monty Python RPG. Oh, wow. That's great. So tomorrow at noon, I basically just had to finally go, okay, I'm going to publish this. I'm going to get this thing going. Because it would be too easy just to kind of like keep doing freelance work and not get this guy off the launch pad. But it's really interesting. There's another crowdfunding event that's going to happen in the middle of this campaign. BackerKit reached out to me because they're doing a holiday market. So it's not a crowdfunding in the classic sense of hit a goal. They decided that for a lot of their vendors, partners, whatever, that they wanted to have something that could give the people, primarily for purposes of in-between campaigns, or let's say you have a large stockpile of inventory, or any stockpile of inventory. They created a holiday market. Marcos! So BackerKit has set up this holiday market that'll launch next Wednesday, I think. The 18th. No, next Tuesday. And they'll only run for 2 weeks. It's not a campaign with a goal. It's basically you're going to just sell stuff. And I've created packages of existing inventory, which is like the 4 hardcovers, the 4 zines, the 4 PDFs. Essentially, it's buy 3, get 1 free for all of those. And then also a pack of minis, existing mini kits. And that's it. No add-ons, no comics, no graphic novels. It's going to be, I think it's basically focusing on the game side of things. That was the context with which they approached me, was the gaming side, not as a cartoonist. So I'm kind of going to stay on that side of the street. And we'll see what happens. I really like BackerKit. My audience has been Kickstarter, and I love Kickstarter, and I love the kind of thing where you back. When I launch my next campaign, all my prior backers will be given a notification. I wish I could say, hey, comics people don't get this, or Astounding Space Thrills backers don't get the role-playing game stuff. I'd love to be able to segment those audiences in some way. Not that there isn't some cross-pollination, but I'd rather do that organically and not this kind of brute force thing. But Kickstarter allows AI, and BackerKit forbids it. So that's huge. I was talking with their rep. There's been a lot of role-playing game success on BackerKit, but that's also, it's easy to have role-playing game success when you're Sanderson or Matt Colville or somebody who already has a legion of people with their credit cards already out. Which is great. That brings more people to communities, more people inside their ecosystem. So maybe some of those folks will stumble onto what I do. But it's a very good reason to move over to their systems that they don't allow AI. Anyway, so I wish I could have more interesting things to show. This is truly the butt end of Kickstarter's campaign builder. It is lots of form fields and I've created a ton of the graphics. I spent most of yesterday and today, when I wasn't doing some client stuff, doing this, building all the elements. But I really think these are going to be fun. Stabracadabra is going to be fun. The subclass is a good, I think, is a good idea. And then death save devices, which are very good magic items, ones that you want to be attuned to and want to have on your character. But they have ultimate abilities, super abilities, which are activated by consuming the character's death saves. And so that's why I wanted these two projects to come out together, because those things dovetail together. Stabracadabra has that as part of its mechanic, and the Bladeborn subclass, and the death save devices are built around that. Some of it's just an all or nothing, like you use 2 death saves to activate this function, or there are some, maybe half of them, have a kind of graduated effect where 1 death save gives you 2 rounds of ability, 2 death saves gives you 2 plus 1d6, and so on. So like the more risk you're willing to take on, the greater the reward, potentially. But I really like it. I think that's it's an idea that occurred to me when I was running a campaign with my friends. Initially, I had the magic items consume their why am I drawing a blank? Their hit dice, and then I saw other D&D things also consumed hit dice, but I don't really feel like that's a very precious currency. You use it primarily, almost exclusively in game, to restore your hit points on a short rest. And that doesn't seem like a big deal. If you're able to take a short rest, you might as well, you'll be back to full health in no time. There's no pressure there. It's kind of it undercuts any kind of tension. But if you want to use this ability and have it, I think of it like the Human Torch's Nova, where it's this huge explosion and then he collapses. Like, I thinking of the death saves as life force and consuming those for the effect, and then having to build a system which allows those death saves to be recovered. And okay, talk more about the bonuses, about how to avoid the hit better. For instance, there's a bunch of different reactions that the fighter can have, which there are some things in D&D like use your reaction to cast a shield spell, which will increase your armor class by 5 points, or use a reaction to parry. I think that does the same thing. It's a fighter bow. It's basically a magical shield where the fighter can add their proficiency bonus, maybe, or their strength bonus. One of the things I wanted about this subclass, again, it's taking from Quimp, is that strength has become a dump stat in Dungeons and Dragons. Even fighters are more dex-based nowadays, or many more are. And I really wanted strength to be important, because to me it breaks some of the, narrative for fighters to be just leaping around and swashbuckling, which is great for some fighters. It could be Errol Flynn, but I really thought this should be a stronger, really take up, really lean into strength. So the reactions are, and many of the abilities are, they're more versatile. And by versatile, like for instance, someone attacks you. You use your reaction to move 5 feet. You're not there anymore. It's that sort of thing where, yeah, that's powerful. It doesn't let you teleport across the room. But it could be a thing where suddenly someone's firing at you and you use your reaction to get behind cover. And I don't know why there isn't more of that, apart from its slight complexity. But anyone who's using my subclass books is embracing complexity. This is not, again, no one's picking up D&D for the first time and playing my characters, or my subclasses. So it's stuff like that, David. And hopefully this, If anyone's still there, let me know. I don't know if I disconnected or I haven't seen anything on the chat. Restream may have choked. Hello. Oh, still here. Okay, it's working. But I could look at my notes about some of the other features. That one I really like. But for death save devices, the one I talk about, and probably the one that was tested the most, is one I actually had on a NPC cleric. They have a shield and consumes at the time hit dice and then death saves. And basically it's a shield that you activate, and adjacent characters can use your armor class instead of their own if they choose, for X number of rounds. So you give this to your armored, warforged, plate-wearing, shield-holding cleric, and next thing you know, now the ranger can be adjacent to you and have a 21 armor class while they fire their arrows for a couple of rounds. I like that a lot. It's a little bit like Tony Stark blocking during Endgame when the Hulk is putting on the Infinity Gauntlet, putting up a shield to protect an adjacent character. Things like that. I don't want them to be I win buttons, but I want them to be things which, in a pinch, can save the team. I should be at PAX. I should be. I would love to do more conventions. I loathe being away from home. It's so good for awareness of my work. I meet so many more people and get so many more customers. Fans is always something, not a word I'm ever comfortable with. More readers. But more people pick up my books and or sign up for the next ones, which is really nice. Maybe. I'd like to do more games, but I've already been invited to a bunch of all the conventions. I was supposed to be at Twin Cities Con 3 days ago, which is interesting because that Twin Cities is a good gaming community there. And also being at a comic convention with gaming stuff is almost like I get a lot of the benefit by just offering something a little bit different. So I started bringing things like a large D20 or D12, basically a huge dice. A huge die that sits on the table and lights up. And so people see that from across the room and they immediately know, okay, this guy's got game stuff. I just always feel like I bring a 12-sided die. I feel like the civilians don't necessarily pick up on that. There's a part of what you're describing that makes me feel like it's more of Constitution as strength, even if it's not the actual guy. Absolutely. And I think, and there's a game I tried the other day, Nimble, which does away with Constitution as a score and kind of rolls it into strength. The role of strength is just so powerful in terms of the hit points a character gets and other things, but really useless in terms of skill checks for the most part. And coming out of Nibblemancy, which was a Constitution-based wizard class, I wouldn't want to revisit. I wouldn't want to go to that well again. But I really like the idea of strength. I could spend a year creating subclasses based on dump stats. Okay, where was we? Have you seen Durf RPG? I haven't. One of the nice things about this Kickstarter campaign, although it lacks a kind of super fun, weird other item, like Nibblemancy had the apron with my ode to the Unearthed Arcana artwork on the cover, on the front of the apron, and this one doesn't have a kind of weird merch product, but it has a second book, which I kind of think is better. Okay, so this is... And that is the big ticket item. If you get both hardcovers and the mini, then it's $80. And I wish the minis could be cheaper, but sadly they cannot be. February, and when they ship in February, these will be, that will be also be when Zine Quest is. So hopefully the people who receive these items will be excited about whatever I'm doing in February, which will be a Druid subclass, which I've been wanting to do for a while. Any tips for a first 3D printer? Yeah, anything from Bamboo Lab, and wait for Black Friday. Bamboo Lab has an A1 Mini, which is one of those bed slingers. It kind of moves everything around. Quality is excellent. It's what Tom Tullis at Fat Dragon Games uses, and so a lot of their presets for printing are available from DriveThruRPG, I think, for a tip. Getting more playable content rather than fun merch item is a bonus. Yeah, I think so. I think so. I hope so. And I've created, gosh, 60 items. One of the few things I could do in between projects while recuperating was just cook up cool magic items. There's some overlap, so I'm going to prune or combine a few here and there, but I think they're going to be a lot of fun. Something I did with some of the books, some of the magic items I was giving to my Patreon supporters, was I included a plot hook with a lot of them. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. I'm not sure if they're all going to fit. I think I would love to get 50 magic items inside this book. That might mean a couple. I can't do one per page. It might be, one. A couple of the magic items go on, or more than one page. I know I hate that, but maybe I get 2 on a page if I can. You don't care for I don't know the man. I just appreciate his channel. But all right, this has worked. This has proven that this software at least works. I don't think any of my other screens work at all. If I go to any of my other scenes in OBS, it's just a nightmare. So I'll log in tomorrow morning, probably around 11:30 before the campaign goes live, and I'll be here. Gotcha. I never came across that way. I really dig what he does. But I'll do that like 11:30 tomorrow morning, East Coast time. I'll come on and we will stream to YouTube and Twitch. And thank you all for being spectacular and lovely. Gotcha. Okay. And I think for Twitch, what I would do, if I could, I would run over to Midnight Sumo is a channel that I, when I'm not watching Cave, when I'm not lurking in Cave's channel, Midnight Sumo. Over the last year, I've gotten really into sumo wrestling, and it is the November Basho, the November tournament. My guy Waka Takakage is not doing particularly well. He's lost the first 3, but he's, naturally you all know this, of course, he's at Magashira 2, which is not in the Sanyaku. He had a chance to become Ozeki last time, but it didn't happen. But I'm not telling you all anything you don't know. Sometimes I say hi, Cave, but often, of all things, it's in the evening and it's on my living room television. So there are limited keyboard options there. So you're on the big screen. All right, you lovely people. I'm going to log out here. I don't think I can raid from this. I've never been able to raid from inside this goofball system. And none of the browsers on my computer are compatible with Twitch anymore. I need to upgrade my everything. Jerks. But, okay, can I go from here? No, I don't want anything else. So they show me ads. I love that I'm at the age where I get like adult diaper ads. It's fantastic. Oh my goodness. Thankfully, I don't have to take note of those just yet. Any minute now. How do I raid? That's the problem. It has nothing to do with anything else. Do I just type in the channel? Do the @ symbol? Yeah, Jamar, Cave's super interesting work. And also, he'll sometimes stream just the weirdest TV, and it's awesome. I think I gotta do the @ symbol. It would be weird not to. /raid space @ name. Okay, cool. Midnight Sumo. Let's go check out some sumo. This is Division 6 it starts off with. These are the youngest. These are basically the amateur levels of sumo, and during the course of the day, by the time it's 3 a.m. our time, East Coast time, that's when you get into like the top divisions. But you know, if you check out the Sumo Primetime channel on YouTube, or a guy named Don Sumo, he does like just the top, what he thinks the top 10 matches are, and it's super interesting. The cool thing is the matches are very short. But all right, you lovely people, I will see you all tomorrow. I got some more work to do, and I will check you all later. Fingers crossed this works. It may not work. I wonder if I can from here. Oh yeah,